Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new session that we're doing on a company that's coming to your campuses, which is Infosys. And with me over here is Suraj from Apex Trainers, and he's helping us, deliver to you a great course on aptitude, specifically for the upcoming Infosys Aptitude Drive. So, hi, Suraj. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Anik. Thank
Hey,
you.
hi. So before I, just hand it over to you, I just want to introduce to the entire channel and all our viewers over here what this entire drive is about and what am I actually speaking about over here. So I'll just quickly open up my slides. This is a new course that we're launching, which is the Infosys Aptitude Preparation. It is for select colleges for which Infosys is going to visit your campuses. And there is a particular pattern to the way Infosys asks questions, what are the previously asked questions, and so on, which Suraj will explain about in just a bit. But just to give you an introduction, that we have this course on the Edist platform, all produced and content created by Suraj and Apex Trainers itself. Um, how you can sign up and check out some of the free modules over here is by going to this link, which is also available in the description below, which is bit.ly/infi-apt. So if you go to this link, it will open up the Edist course page, and I'll just show you how that looks like. But what you get over here, you get 30 tutorials on the most asked topics of Infosys. You will get one mock test free of cost. That is, even if you sign up and don't pay up anything, you'll get one mock test, one set, completely free of cost, and the description and the tutorials of that also free of cost you'll get. If you pay and sign up for the course, you will get 10 mock tests as a practice, and also 10 mock test discussions for these 10 mock tests that you have practiced as well. I'll just show this to you. So when you click this, what you will actually end up getting is this page. As you can see that the course price is about $599. I'll just zoom in a bit so that you all can see. So this is the page that you'll end up seeing. And if you want to just go ahead and try the free module, you have to click this button, try one free module. You can see this page on this link again, bit.ly/infi-apt. Once I click this, I am already logged in onto Edist, but you will get a sign up form. That is, you'll get a Google form to sign up on, and you will get to see this course. This one module is free for you. For the remaining modules, you'll have to pay. That's what you could pay over here. There is an offer applied already. So for a course that's supposed to be about 2,000 rupees, you can easily get it for $599 over here. And if you just want to check out the first free module, you can go here, click this playground. This is the set one, first mock test, again, based completely on previously asked questions and the pattern of previously asked questions, Infosys. And you can also see the discussion over here. Now, what is the syllabus of Infosys? What exactly are the kind of questions that they're going to ask? I'll leave that for Apex and Suraj to just describe in just a little bit. But yes, just once again, telling you all that if you also want to sign up for this course, this is the link you're supposed to go to, and the description, the link is also mentioned in the description below. So that was just a brief introduction. Now I'll like to hand it over to the subject matter expert on campus recruitment training, all aptitude related stuff. That's Suraj Chawla from Apex. So Suraj, so glad to have you. If you could just tell us
Thank you,
more
Anik.
about this.
Yeah, so I'll just take it from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hello everyone. I'm Suraj Chawla, as Anik already introduced me. So I run Apex. I'm the CEO of Apex. So we're based out of Visakhapatnam. So we're coming up with a new course which will be, to training you guys extensively on the Infosys aptitude preparation side, right? So as we have also been informed that the expected dates on which the Infosys company is going to conduct the exams are going to be 28th, 29th, and 30th of September. Depends on certain colleges. So you can just get back, or your training and placement officers will definitely come back to you with exact details and exact slots. Right. So just to have a small overview of the preparation here, that last year, 2019, Infosys exam pattern was on these lines. So we had 10 questions coming up from quantitative aptitude. So there was a sectional timing of 25 minutes, which means you cannot switch from quantitative aptitude to logical ability before 25 minutes, right? So then we had a logical ability section, which had 15 questions, right? And the time limit for this was 35 minutes. This also includes a bit of verbal reasoning as well. So I'll also explain you the list of topics which are included in that. So I would rather term this section as a logical reasoning and a verbal reasoning section. So this had good 35 minutes time slot for 15 questions. And then we had verbal ability, which has always been the most difficult part for all the engineering students, because they have 40 questions and 35 minutes. Right. So overall, the paper consists of 65 questions, and the student has close to 95 minutes to answer. And yes, company also, Infosys also considers sectional cutoffs as well as overall cutoffs, but that again keeps on varying from year to year. And we will still not be able to comment about the cutoffs for this year, because the pattern in which the company is conducting the exam is much different than the whole pattern on which they were conducting the exams previous year, right? But yeah, just to tell you that this becomes one of the most difficult aptitude exams, especially when it comes in the campus recruitment side. Now, why? Let me take this forward from here. Now, when I look at quantitative aptitude, right, in all the three sections, the quantum of syllabus is huge. I mean, if you look at this slide itself, you see that 10 questions are coming up from at least 11 to 12 topics, right? So if you look at it on the same lines for quant, logic, and verbal ability, in a way you're preparing for the whole of the aptitude syllabus for getting one or two questions from each side. So one that brings us a bit of disadvantage, saying that you cannot ignore a topic. Right. So to get that one question from each topic, I need to know about each and every topic. Only then I'll be able to, reach to that. At least the last year's cutoff was 60% of each section altogether. Right. So these are the list of topics in quant. The questions are going to be ranging from medium level of difficulty to difficult questions. Right. Having said that, looking at the last year's paper, out of 10, you can expect 3 sitters in the examination. 3 to 4 are the questions which are, which you can answer in fraction of seconds. Then you'll again have further 3 to 4 questions which will be slightly lengthy in terms of calculation, not in terms of concept. So overall, if you look at it, percentage profit and loss, you expect 0 to 1 questions, right? Similarly, data interpretation, you do not get a complete data set, you just get one question on data, right? So there's a complete data given to you, and only 1 to 2 questions max would be asked. Then we have permutations and combinations and probability are like one of the favorites of Infosys. You can definitely expect at least one question from coming from these areas. We also have mensuration, which is not depending too much on higher difficulty questions. Basic 2D and 3D formulas should be enough for you to solve. Speed, time, and distance, and time and work have again been favorites of most of the exams. So speed, time, and distance also includes both sense streams. We can also include topics on trains here, right? So you can expect at least one question coming up. Similarly, we have time and work, which can be a definite one question. So you can see these are the areas where we do not have an option called 0,1. Right. So these are the areas where a student has to definitely focus upon. You can also look at mixtures and allegations. And majorly, this is again numbers, especially the divisibility part, has again been a favorite of Infosys. Right. So these are certain topics where a student, if is preparing well, if you look at it, you have like 4 plus 2, you are assuring that you have 5 to 6 marks in the quantitative aptitude side, right, in the examination to prepare. So this is the rough, details about the topics which we are covering in quantitative aptitude. Now, the course that we are also, the tutorials that we are offering you along with the course has in-depth explanation of each and every concept of these topics. Along with that, you also have certain questions to practice as well, right? So if I move forward to logical reasoning, again, as I discussed, it's a list of topics. And you see that 0 is a common term coming up there, which means we are not very sure from where the questions are coming up. At the same time, if you look at it, we again have a list of 8 to 10 topics, right? So syllogisms is again one area which comes under verbal reasoning. Clear? So we can expect puzzles-based questions, arrangement-based questions. Generally, students are comfortable here. So I can say that a student should definitely have a comfort zone here, right? But syllogisms, you can expect 0 to 3 questions, which have been coming up very consistently in these exams, right? Again, when you talk about coding, decoding, and number series, again, these are the areas where the students has a comfort zone. So if you ask me, where does Infosys, try to trouble the student while writing this exam, is one, the topic of syllogisms. Next, especially it comes down to topic of crypt arithmetic, because the questions are slightly lengthy, right? So I would always advise that if the student gets an idea at the first go for it. But if not, I would always keep crypt arithmetic questions in the end, only if I have time. But if you also look at it the other way around, you have approximately 35 minutes for 15 questions, right? So save your time for crypto arithmetic maybe at the end, but try to quickly look at other smaller areas which can assure you marks. Do not attempt crypto arithmetic in the beginning, right? So clocks and calendars, again, a very common topic which students are good at, right? Data sufficiency needs a bit of practice. And again, logical deduction also comes under verbal reasoning part. So these are the topics that you can expect in logical reasoning side. So this syllabus has been more or less standard for Infosys exam over the last 2 to 3 years. So I would say a student, banking on these topics, preparing them really well, can assure a student to always fetch cutoffs in these two areas. So quant, logical reasoning, and DI, generally students are able to score well. But one major area where students generally struggle is going to be verbal reasoning side. Now, if you look at it, now since we also train students for CAT, according to me, this is nothing but a CAT syllabus altogether. Right? So you have reading comprehension, you have sentence correction, you have sentence selection, you have parajumbles, you have one-word substitution, which is vocabulary, spotting the error, which becomes grammar, analogy again comes under vocabulary, filling the blanks again comes under vocabulary. Right? And the way we have seen the trend, engineering students slightly struggle in verbal ability, especially in the vocabulary side. Right? So one has to ensure that, when you look at analogy, this is also a part of vocabulary. Your analogy also comes under vocabulary, and your fill in the blanks also are in a way testing your application of vocabulary. So these are three areas where sometimes students also find it a little difficult to approach, because we do not know how many words are we going to by heart in the examination, right? But yes, reading comprehension is going to be very easy. You can assume that it is a standard 8 or standard 9 reading comprehension that you have done in your schools. You can refer to the passage and also crack the questions. So you generally get 2 passages ranging from 6 to 8 questions in the examination. So again, one more psyche that students follow is they try to avoid reading comprehension, thinking that that's a longer passage and we should rather be focusing on shorter single questions, right? But I would rather say that Infosys does not have very difficult reading comprehensions. So a student who is decent enough in verbal ability should ideally safeguard marks, because if you look at it, okay, I'm just sorry here. So this is 40 questions. So if you look at it overall, so when I'm looking at 60% of the total marks that I'm looking at a minimum of 24 marks, right? So as soon as possible, a student is supposed to safeguard at least 24 to 28 marks, right? And trust me, if you are not very strong in other areas, reading comprehension is one area that you can be sure of your answers in this examination. So one very important advice to all the students is, do not ignore reading comprehension in the verbal ability side. Start from reading comprehension quickly, safeguard some marks, and then move to other areas. At the same time, when you move to logical reasoning, I believe crypto arithmetic should not be attempted first. Crypto arithmetic should be attempted in the end. So quickly save marks in the save the time in the other areas, right? Convert as many questions as possible. Then you can sit back and solve the questions on crypto arithmetic, because those are generally lengthy and that involves a lot of reasoning that is in process altogether, right? So we also have a few questions that I would just like to explain you with respect to quant altogether. Right? So when I look at this question says which digit should come in the place of x and y if the number 62684xy is divisible by both 8 and 5, right? So if I look at the number called 62684x and y, right? So the first things first here, that x comma y are nothing but my digits, and the digits always range from 0 to 9, right? Now this number should be divisible by both 8 and 5. Now, a smarter approach for this question would be any number divisible by 8. Okay. Any number divisible by 8, rather than getting into divisibility rules, I would say any number divisible by 8 should definitely be an even number, right? At the same time, if I look at it, any number divisible by 5 should end with either 0 or 5, right? So if a student is smart enough in observing this, a number ending with 5 cannot be an even number. So I can right away cancel my choice called 5 from here, right? So that means my last digit has to be 0. So I can right away freeze that the value of y is equal to 0. If the value of y is equal to 0, my option B gets ruled out. Clear? Now, if I want a number to be divisible by 8. Now let me just have a small recap of divisibility of a family of 2. Now for any number to be divisible by 2 to the power x, the divisibility rule says last x digits of the number should be divisible by the number. Right? So if I talk about a number to be divisible by 2 to the power 1, I need to check the last one digit of the number. Clear? Should be divisible by 2 to the power 1. If I'm checking for a number divisible by 2 square, I'm talking about since the power is 2, last two digits of the number should be divisible by 4. And since now this question says 2 cube and the power is 3, the last three digits of the number should be divisible by 8. So if I talk about the last three digits of this number, I have 4x and y. And we have freeze that the value of y is equal to 0, right? So even if a student does not want to get too much into the depth of it, I can start replacing options. So if you look at the first option, 4, the value of x is equal to 4 and the value of y is equal to 0. Now let us check, is 440 exactly divisible by 8? Of course, yes. I can say 440 is nothing but 8 into 55s, which means the value of x is equal to 4 satisfies and the value of y is equal to 0 is what we already concluded, and therefore the answer becomes option A. Right? So sometimes, the questions in these exams can always be solved with a smarter approach. So I would say you can also go by eliminating the options and use options in a lot of questions where you feel that you are struggling, because guys, 25 minutes for 10 questions, I would rather say is good enough for time for any student with minimum aptitude skills to use options and crack all the 10. Right? So you have an approximate 2.5 minutes per question. So use options wherever you are struggling. Do not try to leave us any question assuming that maybe you have not touched the basics of that topic. Clear? So if I go ahead with the next question here, guys, so I just have one more question for you. Again, this is a really good question. It says there's a star mark here, which means there's a star means a multiplication. Okay. So the question is asking you 3584 into 6. Is it divisible by 2 to the power 10? Now the divisibility rules in terms of fractions is very simple. For the numerator, okay, to be exactly divisible by the denominator, the logics are quite simple. The first step is factorize the numerator. I'll also explain you with the help of an example. So factorize the numerator and denominator both. Now you have to just check whether all the terms of denominator are cancelled from the numerator. All the terms of denominator get cancelled. Now might sound very technical. Let's take a few examples. Suppose I'm talking about, let's say we are talking about 24. Is it divisible by 12? It's a very simple question, right? So let me explain with the help of what I've written here. Now 24, if I factorize, is going to be nothing but 2 cube into 3. 8 is 24. Now 12 is going to be nothing but 2 square into 3. So if you observe, 3 gets cancelled and the 2 square also gets cancelled and my answer becomes 2. So 2 is left over from the numerator, but the best part is every term in the denominator is getting cancelled. If every term in the denominator gets cancelled, my numerator is exactly divisible by the denominator. Let's take one more example. Suppose I talk about 30 divided by 12. Now we know they are not divisible. Now what is 30? 30 is 6 into 5. Okay. Now 12 is 2 into 2 into 3. Now what do you observe? So 2 and 2 get cancelled. 3 and 3 get cancelled. But there is a 2 left over in the denominator which is not getting cancelled. So if you have anything left over in the denominator after factorizing, which means the numerator is not divisible by the denominator. So if we know just these simple steps, we can answer this question. So all we have to do is factorize 3584 and check whether it is dividing 2 to the power 10 or not. So let's quickly factorize this. So 3584. Now factorization, we all know the simple LCM based approach. Start dividing by the smaller prime numbers. So that's going to be 1792. Then again I divide by 2. So that's going to be H96. So again I divide by 2. That's going to be 448. Now it's going to be easy. So again I divide by 2. 224. Again we divide by 2. 112. Again we divide by 2. 56. Now I quickly move forward. It is 8 into 7. So 8 can be written as 2 cube. So we can again use our quick calculation techniques to simplify our time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. So I can write 3584 as 2 to the power 9 into 7. Clear? Now, what does the question talk about? 3584 into 6. So in a way, this is 2 to the power 9 into 7. This is 3584. If I factorize 6, so I know that 6 is nothing but 2 into 3. So I multiply with 2 into 3 and I divide by 2 to the power 10. So if you observe, you have a 2 to the power 9 into 2 to the power 1. So my numerator would be 2 to the power 10 into 7 into 3 divided by 2 to the power 10. So 2 to the power 10 gets cancelled, which means every term in the denominator is cancelled with the numerator, and therefore I can say that the number is definitely divisible by the divisor altogether. Clear? So these are the certain ways in which you can always answer questions, guys. So we also have similar models in the tutorials that you'll be getting up. So you can just go ahead and take a free mock as well to understand where you stand today. And then you can always get back to us in case you need any help with respect to your preparation. You also have my details in this slide, so you can also get back to us in case you want to, just need any help or any guidance in terms of this preparation. Right. So Anik, I'll just hand it over to you.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Suraj. And yeah, I mean, this was, I'm pretty sure that all the students will find just these two questions helpful. And as Suraj was saying, we have many more such tutorials, all drafted by Suraj and the Apex team on the EDIST platform for you all to go and also, take care and, start your preparation for Infosys. So I'll just show that to you again. The link is in the description below, and I'll just show how to access it again in just a minute. But one question, Suraj, that we will always get from all students, especially engineering students, is you said that probably later this month is when the aptitude test is going to be, the Infosys test is going to be, which roughly leaves us with 10 or 11 days. And as most students keep saying that, okay, sir, it's the last 10 days. What should I prepare now? There's no way, or I don't think that anybody can complete the entire syllabus end to end with every question possible. If they're determined enough, they can. But for most students, what do you say is, what should they concentrate more on? I know you covered this, but if you could just really quickly tell us which are the 2-3 very important topics that if a student starts today, they should really pick up.
See, majorly, as I already told in the explanation earlier, that quant, I don't think so should be a problem for any student, quant and logical reasoning and DI. Right? When it comes to verbal ability, I would always say focus on RCs. Second point, I would rather advise you guys to focus on grammar, because you can expect 3 to 5 questions coming up in grammar.
Could you open the slide once again, please? That slide, the reading comprehension. So basically, in verbal is what you'd be
yes
telling, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so when I look at this, so I would always, as I told you, the major areas that a student can rather focus upon is reading comprehension, right? Go with sentence correction, which is again a bit of grammar only. So you don't get too difficult questions in these, right? And then you can rather go with para jumbles, right? And this should be enough for a student to either now start focusing upon to ensure that he or she is safeguarding a minimum marks in the examination. And with enough practice, I believe, because when we were doing the research on fill in the blank questions and analogy questions, those are like very common questions here. So even if a student is not extensively into vocabulary or not, the student is expected to solve 50% of the questions in the other areas. Right. So I would rather advise a student to focus on the first 4 topics very sincerely, and the remaining last 4 are more about the practice. The more a student keeps on practicing mocks, the easier it becomes in that case.
Absolutely. Great. So to all of you who are thinking of, I know we've been running this channel for a long time, and there are a lot of students here who just keep doing a lot of last minute one day batting. They'll start preparing in the last. So, as Suraj is saying, try to focus as much on the verbal part. I mean, the other parts are also very important, but, have a look at the verbal part. And as we are saying that the tutorials are already there for all of these. Again, just want to show you that you can get them on the EDIST platform, all prepared by the Apex team. So if I can actually just open up the verbal section. So this is the verbal part. All of it's locked for me right now, simply because I've not paid for it yet. But if you paid, you can unlock it. So exactly as Suraj was saying, the reading comprehension, para jumbles, all of these tutorials are there. You can go ahead, practice them as well. Go through the tutorials, and then there are 10 mock tests which you can practice as well. So go through the tutorials here, and then there are mock test 2, mock test 2 practice, mock test 3, mock test 3 practice, and it keeps going on all the way up till mock test 11. So the first one is free for you, and then the next 10 are paid, which you have to pay and get it. And for you to sign up for this course, all you need to do is go to this link bit.ly/infi-apt and start at least check out the free module for you to start your practice. So yeah, if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to Apex. Suraj shared their details. We put that in the details below. You can also reach out to us at team@edis.com for any issues you're facing during the sign up or not being able to find the course. Do let us know. We're happy to share. And yeah, if you like this session, if you want more sessions on aptitude, please let us know in the comments below. We'll invite Suraj and the Apex team again and again to help us out with the aptitude parts. And any other feedback or any comments, do let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and share it with any of your friends. Even if you are not participating in Infosys aptitude right now, share it with friends who are participating so that they actually get to know about this. And subscribe to this channel because this is just the start. We're just doing Infosys, but next week we have major announcements on TCS Ninja, TCS Digital, and a bunch of other upcoming placement tests. So we have major announcements on that. So do subscribe to this channel and you will get a lot of updates on that as well. So yeah, that's it from my side. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you, Suraj, also.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anik.
Yeah, thanks. All right, everyone. All the best, and we'll see you all on the Edis platform. Thank you so much.